previously. So picking up from where we left off in the previous video where I created this amazing track, right? It sounds really good, but after listening to it for a while, I just noticed that there's a couple of things I'm not happy with. So I want to take it from where I left it off in the previous video. If you didn't check it out, make sure to go watch the previous video where I cooked this beat up. So I want to take it from where I left it off there and then kind of improve on it a little bit more so that it becomes even better than where it was. So this is a crucial step for me because I like to give it some days. I made this beat at that time. It was Friday. And today is Monday, so it's been a whole weekend and a few days, and now I'm gonna get back to it with a fresh mind and some fresh ears to just improve on the track. So the first thing that I had issues with was the low end. I was feeling a lot of rumbling in the track, especially on this second section here, on this B section here, where there's so much happening, like just all over here. There's a lot of stuff that's just happening here. So what I'll do in this case is I'll just isolate that section like this, and then just make sure that everything plays well, right? And since I'm working with low end and I'm not happy with how the low end is sounding, I usually like to take out the bass and take out the kick. So right here, when it comes to the bass, I've got this log drum here, this log drum pattern, and then I've got an E flute pattern right here. So I'm gonna mute those, and then I'm also gonna mute my kick so that I can take a listen to it without all of that. So let me just play it back. So I'm going to open the mixer here, and then I'm going to load up a EQ2 right here so I can take a look at the frequencies, because just listening is really not enough. You also want to visually confirm what is happening when it comes to those low frequencies. So I'm just going to do that. So I see there's a lot of low frequencies here. So if I were to cut out some of those frequencies, so that sounds very thin. I still want some of the, some of that that energy right there at the bottom, like right here. Maybe like this would be super great. I like that. Okay, so that confirms what I was feeling about the low end. I still hear some issues happening here, and I also suspect that there's something happening in my drums, like with this pattern here. So I'm going to open the channel rack and just put it into pattern. And just add an EQ2 again. There we go, there we go. You see this peak in sound right here, this frequency here. That is clashing with my kick and my bass as well. And I know what that sound is. That's my tom right here. So if I mute this tom here and I just play, you see that we're not getting that big mountain of a frequency that was popping up. There's still some sounds popping up right here, but they're not too much. I don't think they'll be clashing. Although there's still one that's going up like that, this one here. I need to figure out which one is that. It's this percussion here. So a simple thing I can do with this percussion here is add another EQ2 and just drop those frequencies down. Just shelve them. Just like that. So if I take a look again, okay, I think I need to do a little bit more. That's totally fine. So now back to the tom sound that I added here. I just need to replace it because I like how it sounds. I just need to replace it with another sound. So what I can do here is to replace it. I want to go back into the folder where I found it in my own drum kits, link down below. I just have to come here. Like if you open this window right here of the sample, there are 3 buttons right here. So there's a remove sample, locate sample in browser, and locate sample file / sample history. So I want to open this middle one here so that I locate the sample in the browser. So if you click it, it will show where it is, but my browser is not open. So I'm just going to come up here and make sure that it's open. So as soon as you click that this button here, it will locate the file where it is so that you can just switch out sounds. I love that feature in FL Studio. It's super dope. So now I'm just going to pick maybe a higher register tom. I like this tom number 2 here, so I'm just going to replace that. So let's take a listen to that. That sounds much better. I like how that sounds. So I'm going to close the browser here and just play this back again. Let me just bring back the kick, go back to song mode. And now I think I can even raise the level of this sound, right? So I'm going to go back to it and raise it up a little bit more. And even the other sound, that stomp sound that I also turned down, I'm going to lift it up. So as you see, as I'm doing this, I'm not turning up sounds right here by the mixer because I haven't gotten to the mixer yet. Right now, I'm just leveling everything out using these levels on the left side of the channel rack. I'm happy with how it's sounding right now. Now I need to move to the basses because the basses are also kind of clashing because I have two really high bass sounds. So if I can solo them, like you can see the log drum right here. So it sounds really good, but you can see that it has a lot of low frequency. So if I come again to my master and open the EQ, you see all that low frequencies right there. And then if I switch it out with the E flute and again take a look at the frequencies, you can see that this one is even lower, which I actually like. I like the how low the E flute goes. But I also like the mid-range and everything else around the mid-range that the log drum has. So I want to mix both. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the log drum and send it to a mixer track. So I'm just going to open it in the channel rack like this and just come to this cog right here and then open this up and then just click here by track, and it's going to create a new track and do the same thing to the E flute like that and then send it to a mixer track. So now with the log drum, what I'll do, I'll just play both of them at the same time. So let me just, you know, throw on some chords there so that it just doesn't sound like bass alone. Maybe some softer. Yeah, there we go, much better. So it sounds more musical, right? So I'm going to turn off the E flute and I'm just going to leave the log drum. And then I'm gonna open an EQ right here. And then I'm just gonna come to the presets right here. And then I'm gonna just pick this 20 Hertz cut. And then I'm just gonna cut out some low frequencies here where I want the other sound, the E flute, to really shine. So you see I'm cutting off this frequencies right here around 20 to 40 Hertz. So I'm cutting those off because I just only want these ones. And now after I've done this, what I can now do to the log drum is I can add some distortion to it just so that it can, you know, even look better. So I'm just gonna make sure that this EQ is, let's say, around slot number 3. And then I'm gonna add I'm thinking if I want to add the saturation after the EQ or before the EQ, you let me know down below what you would do. But for now, I will add this saturation before, so that if the saturation adds a lot of harmonics that are in the low frequencies, they are cut by the EQ. That's actually pretty smart. That's smart. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. So that it just cuts that. So when it comes to saturation, you come here to distortion. You have different distortions that you have here. Like, let me just open it again. So you've got destructor and fast distortion and fruity squeeze, wave shaper, and hardcore. So you can pick and choose which one you want. So I could pick maybe this destructor here. It's actually a good plugin. So I'm just going to switch off the filter, the chorus, and the speaker here. And I'm just going to leave the distortion right here. And I'm going to use that. So as I'm raising up the preamp right there, you can actually hear that it's adding some distortion here. So if I check my EQ right now, you can see the harmonics that are being added right there. Right, so let me just make sure you can see much better here. So if I switch it off, you see the harmonics are gone. And if I turn it on, there's all those harmonics. So those were going to be the same harmonics that were going to be added around here in the low frequencies where I cut off with the EQ, because if I added this distortion after the EQ, it was going to still have those low frequencies that were going to be added by the distortion, which I didn't want, which would again still clash with the other bass sound I'm going to load up after this. So this is how it's sounding right now. So there's still something here, but it's being cut out. And if I want, I can even cut this out even more like that, just to make sure that there's like totally nothing. There we go. That's much better. That's a better cut. Just like that. And then after this, what I'll add to the sound is I'll add a sidechain, but this is a low frequency sidechain, right? So we're getting really deep into mixing here to mix this sound, so that sounds great. But I really feel like the low frequencies in your track are really special, and you need to take your time to really carve them and make them sound nice. So what I'll do, funny enough, is I'm going to add a love filter, right? So the Fruity Love filter has a really nice preset that I want to show to you. So I'm going to open it up. There it is, the classic love filter, bro. And then I'm going to come here to the presets, and there's a sidechain low frequencies preset right here. So I'm going to load that in. That's awesome. So what this is doing is that it's pumping, it's changing the low frequencies, right? So it's just adding that pump, especially in the low frequencies. And right now, this sound is still basically in a low frequency sound, because a lot of the sounds are in the low frequency. So if I open this up, all this is low frequencies, because you can see right here, starting by low mid and then going to bass and then going to sub. But we cut out the subs because the second sound that I'm going to add, the E flute, is going to have a lot of frequencies right here on the sub. So this one is around here by bass and low mid. So that's why this Fruity Love filter is working right now. So now if I add the E flute, let me just open this up a little bit more. So now let's hear all of this with the track. I like that so much. It's sounding really great. Let me know what you think down below, but I think it sounds really dope right now. These are like some really big improvements that I'm happy with. The next sound I want to check on is this Afro loop that I have here. So I'm just going to open it up and send it to a mixer track again and open up an EQ. I really love the parametric EQ too. It's so underrated. It's a really good plugin that helps me do anything I want to do. I can obviously use any other EQ, like you can use a Fab Filter EQ if you want to, or other third-party EQs to do the same thing that I'm doing here. But for just simple corrections like these, why not just go stock plugin? You know, it just does a good job. So I'm just going to check these frequencies. And as you can see, it has a lot of low frequencies, but I don't want to cut them out so much. So I'm just going to shelf a little bit like that, just to turn these down a little bit more, right? So that's good. I'm going to leave that alone. And then the next thing I'm going to go to now to finish off all these low frequencies is my kick. So my kick is right here. Let me just rename this channel to just kick. This just so much going on here. There we go, kick loop like that. So I already have an EQ here because in the previous video, if you're watching, if you remember, I showed you how to create a top kick using your main kick. So I'm just gonna leave this EQ here and I'm gonna add another EQ after this one. Boom, there it is. So I can see my low frequencies here. So what I wanna do with the kick here is I want to add 2 more EQs after this one. So it's a lot of EQing going on. So with this first one, I'm going to be cutting off a lot of sub frequencies. It's something that you want to be careful with, obviously. You don't want to cut out too many subs off your kick, but there's a lot of subs that are unnecessary when it comes to your kick. So I'm just going to do this and just cut off a little bit, just a little bit, maybe around, let's say around 40 hertz. I don't want everything beyond 40 hertz with my kick. You let me know how far you high pass your kick, but I think this for me is good. Just to remove a lot of that low rumbling that you can see that is like wobbling like that, you know, because it's the tail of the kick that has all that low frequency energy. You see it's hitting here first and then it moves all the way to the left like that. Like, just pay attention to that. You see that from here, it hits here first and then goes down here. So that's the tail. The tail of this kick has some low frequencies. So I'm just going to dip even more and go into the 50 hertz around here. So to be honest, it doesn't really make that much of a big difference when it comes to, you know, just cutting out some of these, but it just prevents you from just crashing, just having a really bothersome kick, because sometimes you don't want to sidechain anything because, you know, you sidechaining the kick to everything is just tedious. It's unnecessary. So I don't like to do that. So I'm going to do that there. And then I'll just also throw on an EQ right here. and just tame some of these low mids a little bit. Just like that. That sounds way better. And now look at the master, look at the EQ on the master. Everything sounds so full, like the whole track, all the frequencies are being used. Look at that, that looks really good. I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy with that. So again, just to play the track back again, just to hear all of it again as it is, let me just do that. And I'll just add this back here just for the sake of it. Okay, let's take a listen now. So let me know what you think, but I'm really happy with where I left the track right here. It sounds super amazing. If you didn't catch my previous video where I made this track from scratch, you can definitely check it out. I'm going to leave a playlist that you can check out. I'm actually going to leave 2 playlists right here that you can check out. If you want anything that I use to make my music right here on the channel, you can check out the links that are in my description. And you can also like and subscribe this video if you found it very helpful. I'm sure there's a lot of tips that I was sharing that you can follow along and see if they can help you. But thank you so much for watching. I'm X and I'm out. Peace.